we fight for that inch.
Rarely do I see any American Italians eating in here.
But I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
Villkoret är att jag får leva.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Hey there, welcome to Real Genius. I am Chris Vognar, culture critic of the Dallas Morning News.
And I'm Robert Wilonsky, and I also work at the Dallas Morning News.
We saw Star Wars, Robert. We saw it
We saw
today.
it. We did. We've seen it early, and I feel pretty good about that.
Do you feel privileged?
As someone said to me earlier today, congratulations on working your entire life to get to the point where you get to see Star Wars 3 days early.
It's quite an accomplishment.
It's really
I too would like to congratulate you.
And I congratulate you.
Thank you. It's pretty good. I liked it. Thought it was fun.
So this is interesting.
It's only a movie. That's what I keep saying.
We have to figure out how to talk about it without talking about it.
I think we can do that.
I think we do
I just
that.
had to write about it without writing about it.
Everybody who knows that I've seen it has said, so don't tell me anything about it. But how was it?
But what did you think?
But how was it?
Yes.
Was it good? Was it worth it? Should I see it? Of course I'll see it. Is it great? Thumbs up, thumbs down. And I tell them all the same thing. This is the Star Wars movie you were looking for.
Yeah, it's light on its feet. It's charming. It's respectful of the mythology without being overly reverent.
It has emotional resonance.
It has some emotional resonance. It feels alive in a way that those last three Abominations, it feels tactile in a way that those last three Abominations did not. It doesn't.
If nothing else, it makes you realize. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It doesn't feel like it exists in a computer.
Well, if nothing else, it makes you realize how god-awful the first three movies were. Like you needed something to remind you how awful episodes 1 through 3 were. Here's episode 7 to say, look what we could have had we had somebody other than George Lucas and his computer making movies.
You want to watch a clip?
There's only one clip.
Yes.
We have the trailer playing behind us, but the supercut of every single trailer, which is about 3.5 minutes of footage.
I get my hair cut at Supercuts.
Super cuts. So here's 15 seconds, and it's actually a great sequence in the context of the film because it sets up one of the first cameos and one of the great jokes, but we're not going to spoil it for you because we're not those kind of guys.
We don't do that.
We can't outrun them!
We might! In that quad jumper!
Hey, we need a pilot!
We've got one!
You!
There you go.
That was it. See you next week. Those are the two stars that will emerge from this movie, Daisy Ridley and John Boyega.
Who are both fantastic.
Both really good. Both good characters, too. Both thoughtfully written, quirkily written, but not overly cute characters.
She's the scavenger who lives on the planet Jakku, waiting for her parents to return.
Which is much like the planet Tatooine.
It's hard to tell them apart.
They're desert communities.
They are desert adjacent. We keep awaiting some idea of who her parents are. We do not find out anything about her lineage. I assume that will come later in the movies. John Boyega plays Finn, who is a stormtrooper of the First Order, no longer the Empire. They're now the First Order, who they.
It's kind of like Joy Division in New Order.
Right,
It's
exactly.
Like the
like.
Empire and First Order.
Well, the First Order is more danceable than
Exactly.
Joy Division.
Absolutely.
So
because they have Adam Driver. So.
Yeah, they do have Adam Driver as Kylo Ren, who is the Darth Vader acolyte fetishist, who also has an interesting lineage. You'll find out about that. We're not going to spoil a damn thing. How's that?
There's more father-son stuff in this new Star Wars movie because
A lot of
Star
that.
Wars is all about the father-son stuff.
It's all about the bloodline, the Force, and how they connect, how you're not just connected to the universe, but you're connected, in fact, to the people that are starring in Star Wars movies.
So we both liked it. Should we quibble a little? Should we find little things that we thought could have been
I had one small part.
refined some?
I would like to have seen more of Oscar Isaac as
Likewise.
Poe Dameron. I think, in fact, there's a part of the movie that suggests he may have had some of his scenes excised because there's a plot hole that I really was not happy with nor satisfied with the explanation whatsoever.
Okay.
How about
I
you?
agree. I thought his return was kind of awkward.
Yes, it is an awkward moment. But the thing I love now, so we're watching the trailer. people think that the scenes that we're watching in the trailer, they've given them a certain context without having seen the movie. It's interesting when you finally see the movie to go, oh, that thing that I thought was happening in the trailer is not at all the thing that was happening in the trailer.
That's what trailers do, though.
Right, but whatever expectations or thoughts you have about what you're about to see, set them aside. I mean, that's really,
the hardest, and that's exactly what I said in my review. I said, go into this with an open mind, and chances are you will really dig it.
Yeah, and go in with an open mind, go in realizing that what you've seen, these glimpses, these teases, are just that. They're meant to remind you of the nostalgic thrill of seeing Star Wars, but it also, and I was a little worried about this at the beginning, that I was just going to be overwhelmed by the nostalgia, not enjoy the tale it was telling and the way it was doing so. But I was really moved by moments of the film. And look, it's the greatest thing about this film. We've lived with these characters, some of us, for 38 years. And it's kind of extraordinary to realize how much you missed them, how much you cared about them, how much shorthand there is with them, and how when things happen to them, you are already so connected to them that there is a sort of familial connection. So the things that happen to them really mean something. And I think that's in a lot of ways where also the trilogy, the first trilogy, the episodes 1 through 3, really fails. Because not only were they poorly acted, not only were they poorly shot,
Directed.
Poorly directed, and look, poorly written.
Inert.
They're just awful.
Lifeless.
But you didn't care about these people. You didn't care about the fact is, baby Darth Vader was not very interesting.
Baby Darth.
Baby Darth is not interesting, and Hayden Christensen grew up to turn him into a petulant little brat.
That's my rapper name, by the way.
What I was interested in
Baby
seeing was
Darth.
Harrison Ford and Han Solo to find out what has happened to him in the 30 years. We know that the Jedi and the Force have become mythological in this universe. We know that they no longer exist for whatever reason. We sort of begin to find out the reasons in this film. All that baggage that we've crammed into decades of loving and living with Star Wars is extraordinarily unpacked in this film. And I think that's something we shouldn't take for granted. Yes, it's fun. Yes, it's emotionally resonant. But it really honors in a thoughtful and beautifully done way the things that we revered, respected, and just played with when it comes to these toys, these tangible little action figures we had.
One of the things I thought J.J. Abrams did very well was use the callback moments to tap you on the shoulder and include the in-jokes without beating them, without coming close to beating them into the ground.
Right.
It's a very, and like I said when we started talking, it's very light on its feet. It really sort of knows how to work the past and our memories of these early movies into something new. It's a hard balance. I mean, I was thinking as I was writing this review, just the expectations and demands that so many people have on these filmmakers who are behind this new series. I thought those expectations were really well managed and met here.
I absolutely agree. And what I love in a lot of ways, and was reminded again as I watched Star Wars or A New Hope last night before we got ready to watch The Force Awakens. In The Force Awakens, they talked like real people. They spoke like real people. Their dialogue was very naturalistic and organic.
I mean, you didn't think Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen sounded like real
They
people?
they spoke like people who were reading stereo instructions translated from the Klingon into Tatooinese,
Good. I like working the Star Trek cross franchise reference in there.
Look, I'm also fairly convinced, and I can't wait to see The Force Awakens again on Saturday. I'm fairly convinced that at one point that one of the villains that you see briefly are Klingons. I'm fairly certain that J.J. Abrams worked in a Klingon.
You think there's going to be a mashup at some point?
Well, R2-D2's in Star Wars.
You think he's going to just...
No, R2-D2's in Star Trek, his Star Trek.
You think... really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No. The scene when they come out of warp, where Vulcan's under attack by Nero and the Romulans. If you freeze frame it, when the Enterprise is flying through all the wreckage, there's R2-D2 floating through
He's
space.
also in Close Encounters.
Right.
He's at the bottom of the mothership.
He is.
R2-D2 gets around.
But R2-D2's in Star Trek, and I'm fairly certain the Klingons are in Star Wars. I'm looking forward, because I think the outfits they're wearing are the Klingons, and they're from the original series, not from the movies.
So maybe J.J. Abrams will just decide that he's got too much work on his plate and just say, screw it, let's just make it one thing. Star Trek Wars.
There's a really great Star Wars versus Star Trek trailer on YouTube that I highly recommend if you want to see something like that. It's freaking brilliant.
I'm on it.
But what I was about to say was, they talk like real people. And Boyega. I mean, he's
funny.
oh my God, he's hilarious. As I told somebody today, and they didn't want to hear it, I'm not going to repeat it because we're not here to spoil anything, even if it's 2 words of dialogue. But he says this one thing that I had to turn to you and go, did he just say what I think he said?
Yeah.
And he did say it, and it's the funniest thing in any Star Wars movie.
And it kind of just like floats right by.
It's just a throwaway joke.
Yeah.
And it's great. And it's, to me, that's emblematic of all, it takes place in the Millennium Falcon. That's all, and involves BB-8. That's all I'll say, so look out for that. It's just so much fun, and the emotional stakes are real because we love these characters, we know them, and they are very much a part of our lives, for better or for worse.
Did you tear up a little bit?
Oh yeah, didn't you?
Tiny bit.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I do. I cry at the movies.
I cry at the movies quite frequently,
Yeah.
especially if they're bad. But this one I cried the good tears.
Yes, tears of joy.
Yeah, and sadness.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Go see it and just go to it because it's it's a movie, and I don't mean to say it's only a movie because I know for so many people it's so much more.
And this is
than
your
a movie.
job, so I would never dismiss
But you need,
anything.
but you need to, but you do kind of need to go in not expecting the second coming and resurrection of Star Wars, and instead expect.
But it
a
is
21st
but it gives
century.
you that.
It's-
It gives you what you want from.
It is, but it's new.
It's better than A New Hope. It's better than the first Star Wars. It's not as good as Empire.
See, I find it impossible to even really make a value judgment there because the person who saw A New Hope for me is still the little 7-year-old kid.
Sure, I saw when I was 9, but 8, and yeah, absolutely. But I went back and watched A New Hope before I watched this, having seen Empire and Jedi recently. I hadn't seen New Hope in a long time. There are parts of that movie that drag. I mean, this just as a film is just better. I mean, it moves better, it looks better. It's just it has a look. There's only 2 things that happen in A New Hope.
Blasphemy!
Only 2 things happen in A New Hope. Go get the princess and go blow up the Death Star.
Pretty straightforward,
That's pretty straightforward.
but it's awesome.
It gets a lot more complex as we get later into the series, and this is the most complex of all of them.
So the Force has awakened. It has awakened us.
And my pants.
We are awake. He said that, not me. Next week, are we doing Christmas movies?
Yeah, Christmas, then we'll do our year-end. Your year-end list comes out in a week, right?
It comes out this Sunday.
Well, I have a couple of movies I need to catch up on because I have some nits to pick,
as always.
as always.
Star Wars, it's good. See it. See you next week.